here. I've seen quite a few of there sitting there waiting, and I really appreciate it. I had a doctor's appointment this afternoon, so just now kind of getting back on the horse here and figured out, exactly what's going on here with a couple of tornado warnings still intact across the area, most of which are into the Carolinas here at the moment. We got lots of severe thunderstorm warnings up and down the line. You can see those from Atlanta all the way back down to South Fulton County and into the Peachtree City area. There's a severe thunderstorm warning or two going on there as well. Had severe thunderstorms all the way back down into Birmingham, Alabama. And again, several of them popping up across northeast Alabama. We had a tornado warning in northeast Alabama. Up into DeKalb County, which is exactly where I live. That happened a little bit earlier this afternoon. No real tornado. In fact, I don't see any tornado reports, actually, from the Severe Storms Prediction Center for the day. I got 196 different wind reports that came out. 196 wind reports, got 37 hail reports. But quite a bit of wind here and there across portions of Kentucky into West Virginia. Wind reports that go all the way down to and include the state of Alabama and the Virginias. And then some hail reports as well. Tennessee wind reports here. Mostly just trees down, power out, that kind of thing. A few trees down. I don't know if in the past we always did reports for a tree that fell down in somebody's yard. But it's tree fell down, tree fell down, tree fell down. So some trees fell down here and there across the area. That's been the big deal here. But tornado warnings, that's what we got right now. We have a tornado warning sitting up here near Concord into the Charlotte area, just outside of Charlotte a few moments ago. A tornado warning had set up here and still have that intact. And at the moment right now, the actual tornado is coming into the county from the western side. This is going to be radar indicated as a tornado warning from the National Weather Service there. It's Mecklenburg County, actually, where the tornado warning is here at the moment. And looks like we're talking about a severe thunderstorm that's capable of producing a tornado there into the area. Downtown Concord is what they're saying in Harrisburg. It's moving to the east at about 45 miles an hour. East at 45, radar indicated tornado quite possible into the downtown Concord area at about 5:30. We'll be looking there and into the Midland Mount Pleasant area sometime after 5:40 this afternoon. Tree damage is likely and some other problems there, but obviously if we have a tornado that is on the ground, that could be a pretty big deal there as well. Now we're looking at the radar. This is pretty far outside of the radar, by the way. It's not very close in, so we're getting some not the greatest of data here at the moment. This is outside of our Purple Haze area, actually, from the radar over into Greenville. Let's see why can't we get a better radar here. Let's try to get the radar here. That's going to be it. And right now, I mean, we just got a big glob of moisture that's coming in. These are big thunderstorms coming in out of Kannapolis and into Concord, the Mount Pleasant area, Harrisburg. Still got severe thunderstorm warnings there, and the possible tornado is going to be just south of there along 49. It'd be County Road 49. In the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'd be watching out for that coming through Concord and making its way southward, and might even make it into Oakboro here in just a few moments as well. So we'll be looking out for that. That's the lone is it the lone tornado warning? There are two tornado warnings. So we got that one going on there. Into New York State, we have another one, and that one's going to be pretty far to the north here, it looks like. This is going to be a tornado warning storm. Look at that little hook echo that you got associated with it there. 14 more minutes on this tornado warning just outside of Cortland, New York. It's moving to the east-southeast at about 25 to 30. Velocity data shows you got an inbound-outbound marker right about there. This is where things are happening, right in this area right there. So that is a tornado warning storm for the moment. Moving southward and eastward, I think we have another 15 minutes on this tornado warning coming southward near Freetown and into the area there that is just south on 81. It looks like this is going to be I-81 coming in on the southwestern side near Virgil and moving on to the east. So lots of thunderstorms that go all the way up to the north. You can see they actually make their way into Canada on the south side, where you have flash flood warnings into Canada that have popped up here and there as well. So looking out for all of that as it moves on to the east and to the northeast. Up into Maryland, we got a couple of people up there we're watching. Bryce Shelton, one of the LSM guys, is in the area in Maryland. We've been watching him moving through the region there. We do have thunderstorms coming to D.C. at the moment from the west, moving eastward toward Annapolis into the Alexandria area here in about 10 or 15 minutes. And then down to the south, you got Charlottesville, all the way down to Fredericksburg, where we still have severe thunderstorm warnings that are intact. And what we're looking at here is quite possibly some 60-mile-per-hour winds or greater that will be taking place in all of these areas. From Manassas southward, it looks like Fredericksburg, not yet, but coming in the next hour or two. As that goes southeastwards, just tons of severe thunderstorm warnings associated with it here up and down the line. It'd be easier to tell you where they're not. But Baltimore southward down to Fredericksburg, Montclair, and into the Charlottesville area, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings that are intact right there. So that's where we are. And if you can figure out what is weird about my hat today, besides just my head being in it, if you can figure out what's weird about my hat, you'll be just study it for a minute here. So the tornado warning outside of Charlotte has 27 more minutes on that tornado warning coming southward. That's going to be the only 2 tornado warnings that we have. And the rest of it is going to be severe thunderstorm warnings going southward and eastward into the downtown Atlanta area. Now, if we go to Peachtree City, we look at the radar here. You can see what we're talking about. This is a mess coming in around from basically I-20 coming into town for the western side, Villa Rica, Bremen, into that area, and then passing on into the western side, making your way around Atlanta on 285. And this is just a nasty Alpharetta, back over to Kennesaw, into that region there. I don't see anything spinning, although we had a little bit there earlier that was trying to, but I don't see anything at the moment that is spinning. It is all just a straight line, sort of gusty wind sort of a situation. Some of the storm reports off to the north already indicating where we had, watch, this is going to say tree down? Yeah, it's another tree that is down near the intersection of Batesville and Sugar Pike Road. That's near Hickory Flat, Georgia. And just outside of Canton and Bridge Mill, that's Cherokee County, we got another multiple tree sightings. These are multiple trees down over to the Knoxbridge Road area at Fields Landing Road. Trees that are down there into the county that we're looking at. Now, up here in the Tennessee Valley, it gets a little worse. Gets a little more clustered as far as the thunderstorms go. Some 60-mile-per-hour winds being reported earlier. This is a 68-mile-per-hour wind, actually, at the ASOS station there at the Chattanooga Airport, Lovell Field. We had a 68-mile-per-hour wind when the stuff came through there, so that caused some damage down around Fort Oglethorpe near the Chickamauga battlefield. There was some damage there near Chickamauga. Then off in the northeastern corner here, we had some trees that were down up and around Scratch Ankle Road. I'm going to read every one of these roads to you and the counties because I love them. This is Dade County, actually, on the northwestern side of, on the other side of Fannin County. Power lines down on I-59 near I-24, near the split. That's what they need, is something else to cause traffic to back up there on I-24 and 59. That'd be horrible because it's already just a mess there. And then you got a tree that's down on Hooker at the Hooker Cemetery Road. A tree's down there, according to emergency management. Just tons of, over the past couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, we've had trees down all over the place, especially into the state of Alabama. The last couple of systems that went on through, producing some very heavy rainfall off and on across the region. Above me here, you see Bryce Shelton again. We're looking at him. He's in Windsor Mill in Maryland at the moment, traveling down the road. And looks like traffic is traveling well in both directions here, actually. So going to watch out for that. Across the state of Tennessee, we've had off and on rains, thunderstorms that have popped up there as well. Got a few back here to the west. Still had some damage in and around Amory there. Law enforcement says trees down on Old Highway 6 near Cason Road. That's in Monroe County. Over here in Mississippi, and then down to the south, a couple more. There was a roof that, I read about this a little bit earlier in Lee County, roof that was damaged there, and that was not a good deal overall. I thought there were injuries there, but I don't think there were. I think they no longer had injuries associated with that. And then down to the south, we got a little bit more going on here and there, but as far as the actual weather down in that area, it looks like it's a whole lot better now coming in. We got Brett Adair. Brett is out and about. He's been in central Alabama through the day today. He was over to Jefferson County a little bit earlier, now to Shelby County, moving southward, going to make its way into Tallapoosa here shortly. And Sylacauga. We're watching out for Brett there. Just a few moments ago, he had a pretty good signal. I don't think he was actually going to, let's see. He had a pretty good signal, and I don't see him. But he was there just a few moments ago into central Alabama, watching the storms coming through Birmingham a little bit earlier. We had severe thunderstorm warnings that were in effect there into Birmingham. They are no longer, Yeah, bless his heart. He's having so much car trouble. If you, I don't know about his mechanic, uh, but pretty much the rest of it is sort of a straight line event. The East Coast has been under fire for a while now. We've had what, I don't know, 3 days in a row now of severe thunderstorms, severe weather coming into that region, and still there's plenty of time for some more here as we go through the rest of this week. I think it all moves on the eastern coast. Hey, Lynn, how you doing? Is it Lynn you? It's good to hear from you. Hey, David, says Lizzie. Hey, Lizzie, says David. Is this going live? Yes, we are. And we really appreciate you being with us here this afternoon. Probably not going to stay on here very long because what we see here at the moment is somewhat temporary, and I don't think the tornado warning is going to last very long at all. I really think almost everything is going to sort of wrap up here as we lose a little bit of heating of the day. So that would be a little bit special here. That would help us out with this as we move forward in time here, because all we got really up there is into New York. If you got a question for me, if you want to ask me a question, be glad to answer. This is a good time to do that and make sure that we know what we're doing. Let me see. I gotta pull this over here closer because. Okay. Yes, Brett is a Virgo. He is a Virgo. Did any tornadoes touch down today? I don't think so. I mean, if you go to the special site, I don't see a tornado that touched down today. I see lots of hail reports from the SPC for the day. I see lots of hail reports, and then I see there was 218 wind reports, but no tornado reports so far today. I do know that we've had a couple of warnings here and there. I had a warning for DeKalb County, Alabama. Yeah, that was my county just about 2 hours ago, and I went outside to look, and I didn't see anything. So somewhat of an errant warning there that was called. But, more or less, I think that's where we are at this point with the warnings that we're looking at least as far as where they're going. Hold on one second. I got to fix something that's going crazy here, and I don't know why. Auto lock. Low power. I got to find out why my screen is going dark here. Control center. I should not be in low power mode for some reason or another. I am. Storage, blah, blah, blah. I'll fix it later. Well, we're not new at this. I don't know what this is. This is an iPad issue here where like every minute or two my screen's going dark, and when it does, it's knocking me off the air here. There we go. Now we're back on. The weather in Seattle's always so boring. I love storms. Joe says. Yeah, I do too, Joe. I was living in Denver a while back, and we had storms in Denver, obviously. We had storms, afternoon thunderstorms, that kind of thing. But lordy, we have them like several times a day here in the southeastern United States. We finally got rain at my house today, so that was a pretty good deal overall. Liberty Ridge. I see something about Virginia, Maryland up there as well. I hope you're watching in all of these areas here across central Georgia. You can see what's happening is all the thunderstorms. Severe thunderstorm warnings. 65 alerts that are still out there. Most of those are going to be severe thunderstorm warnings up and down the line. And again, if you go from western Alabama, Alexander City, all the way back up to the north over to Gainesville, into the Athens area, and further to the north, we have plenty of thunderstorms still ongoing in all of these regions here. And just going to be watching what happens throughout the remainder of this evening. There's still that tornado warning. They chopped that off just a little bit. It goes 19 more minutes for the tornado warning there across central sections of, central Cabarrus County. Is it Cabarrus? I don't think I've ever said that county. That's one of the few. But it's Mecklenburg, I think, was where we were a little bit earlier. This is near Midland, moving southeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So pretty good news overall there. They're chopping this off, which means they're not pushing it forward. And all indications are this is very weak as far as what could be a tornado now that's popping up here. There's tons of lightning near Concord. You can see that in Kannapolis. Got a bunch of lightning going on there. The inbound and the outbound with this is really not where you'd think it would be. It's a sucky picture. This is a piece of crap that you see right here. It's not a very good deal that's happening there at the moment. So just take this with a grain of salt, because it sucks as far as what it looks like for a tornado. I don't know how they're calling this unless somebody sees it. But look at all the lightning. You got tons of lightning associated with it. So it's all, pretty much doing its own thing there as far as the lightning goes. There's been tons of that popping up. Severe thunderstorm warnings all over the place. There's a little spin right here that keeps showing up near York that I was watching. That seemed to be worth watching for the moment. Nothing that looks like it's going to be long-term, though, there across that area. So for the short term, at least, we'll be looking for high winds to come in and blast on to the south and east across that portion of South Carolina and the rest of the area up and down the line all the way back over to Atlanta. You can see this is somewhat of a linear event now across all of this area. Let me show you what the radar looks like. We'll do the composite radar up and down the line. You can see where it goes all the way to the north up into Philadelphia now, where we still have all the severe thunderstorm warnings up into Philadelphia and beyond. And tornado warning. Look at that. They still have this little bitty polygon right there on 81. It expires in 2 more minutes. Little bitty polygon that expires in 2 more minutes there across the area. It actually, they're saying this is observed now. So don't want to make fun of it. It's a confirmed tornado, actually, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour near McGraw in Cortland. So the little bitty polygon's producing a little bitty tornado here at the moment. At least that's what it looks like on 81. Let's get rid of this and go to the radar. Go to a different radar here. 81. So they just moved this a little bit further off to the northeast as a new tornado warning now for the next 16 minutes. Tornado warning's in effect here. Out of the Binghamton office. This is until 6 p.m. tonight. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado here, located near McGraw, Cortland, moving northeast at about 25. A possible tornado. Radar indicated, and it did produce some damage, they say, back to the west here near McGraw. So it's a little bitty polygon turned into a much bigger polygon near the town of Salon. Picture is off to the south, and we have a possible tornado here at the moment. That we are following from the south and to the north, and it's got all indications are, well, let me see if we can do this. Let's just go look at it. There it is. It's a little bitty spin going right there near McGraw, and that's County Road 41, 42, whatever it takes. But near Clinton Street, got a tornado right there, just to the south of State 41. Now it just moved over State Highway 41. With its little bitty circulation, as you see it right here at the moment. That's going to be right there. I see some spin. It's not tight. It's not a pixel, it's not gate to gate, sort of. There's about 7 or 8 pixels there, so you're talking about 6 or 7 miles wide of spin. I can see this as being a mesocyclone that you look up and it's spinning and rotating. I don't see this as being like a really tight funnel at this point. Can't imagine it looking like that, but it was observed, they said. They had that observed tag on there just a few moments ago, so we'll certainly be aware of that. And what is this? Into North Carolina, a brand new tornado warning here. Is it brand new or is it the old one? That's the old one. So they've made a bigger polygon out of it. This is coming into Troy and Biscoe. And this is a tornado warning now that shows up near Norwood. This is from the National Weather Service out of Raleigh. They're saying that Stanley County, Montgomery County, you're underneath the tornado warning. Downtown Concord moving to the east at about 50 miles an hour. It's going to be near Troy at about 620, Biscoe at about 625. Coming in from the west. Why do they say this? Well, it shows up a little bit on the radar here. But again, we're pretty far out of radar contention at the moment. And I guess right there is really, that's kind of the only rotation that I see, at least as far as this radar goes. And heads on eastward. So that's going to be moving in along the interstate here very shortly, along 73, 74. And near the town of Biscoe is where, if I had family, I would say, hey, You folks that live in Bisco, that's coming in from the west here, I'd be paying attention to what's happening with this all the rest of this evening. Maria, it's so great to hear from you again. I haven't been on here for a while, so I really appreciate all you showing back up again. Kathy Boyd is with us. She's watching from South Carolina. Lizzie's with us. She didn't want to, she doesn't have to water the tomatoes, so that's pretty good. What time do you think this will affect Raleigh? Let's see. Tell you what we'll do. We'll just take a look at maybe one of the models. I don't know how well the model is doing at the moment, but let's just take a look at it and see what time it says it arrives over there into Raleigh. No, not dew points. Yes, for the reflectivity. So we'll put this into motion to show you what the new HER. This is as of 20Z. So we're looking at, what, about 7 o'clock tonight? Coming in between 6 and 7. Now, this stuff's moving about 50 to 55. So coming in fast, coming in hot, and moving on through the region. This is 6 p.m. tonight, and out of there by 7. So very fast-moving situation here. Let's see. So it's 4:48, 5:48. So we're really looking at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. 4:48, 5:48. Yeah. I wonder if that's still in Central Time. Maybe. Huh? So we're talking really about 8 o'clock. So we're 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I think we're looking, this is going to be 7 o'clock Eastern Time. I don't think it does the conversion anymore as far as the clock goes up here. Calendar and the clock goes. So I think this is 7 o'clock tonight. Just coming into Western Raleigh near Durham and then moving on through by 8. In and out by 8, according to the HER. They don't make a his, they just make a HER. Da-da-da. The Storms Prediction Center has a new meso discussion to tell us about. This is going to be a, let's see, I wish I could pull those up. Oh, I can, hold on. It's not the smoothest way to do it, but come on, people now, come on. Loading. I got that. There is a new meso discussion. I can't show it to you because some reason. It's for Central North Carolina, though. There's a new meso for Central North Carolina here at the moment. I wonder if I can, hold on a second. Let me see if I can get the India to work here. Could be. I think it's because I got all my other stuff. Okay. Allow, okay. Oh, I know why that's not working. Just forget it. You ever use your stuff and just have trouble right off the bat with it? There's the new MD. It just doesn't come over here for quite a while. Anyway. Oh, no, you don't have. I'm not happy about this new feature. Who's in Jonesboro? Jaden's in Jonesboro, Tennessee. When was there a tornado in Greenville? When was there a tornado in Greenville? Hold on just one sec. Well, that wasn't easy, but there's a new mezzo discussion. Just popped out a few moments ago. A Boeing Latin segment. It's going to pose a regionally higher risk for severe damaging winds over the next couple of hours across central North Carolina. That's this right here. You can see the upper level isotachs. These are winds of equal wind. Okay. Isotachs are lines of equal wind direction. And what you're seeing here is basically what we're looking at. That's coming in from the west. We've got a little maximum showing up there down to the south that we're looking at. This is all in according with the the Severe Thunderstorm Watch and what they're about to do with that. And looks like they're thinking they might need to move it a little bit further off to the east. This is effective shear and ML Cape that we're looking at. Highest Cape is going to be up here into this area, 1,500 joules per kilogram. And then down here to the south, we have a maximum as well. And this is over the Sandwich, what is a infrared satellite image mixed with a little bit of a visible image there too. So what are they saying? Just, kind of what we're looking at on the radar is what they're saying, that we see thunderstorms coming into central sections of North Carolina. From the west to the east, we now have a tornado warning up here that's 37 minutes in length for central North Carolina. Montgomery, Stanley County goes until 6:30. This evening, folks. Mount Pleasant, you're underneath a tornado warning. Downtown Concord till at least 5:43 is where we are. 5:43, that was a few minutes ago. So this is going to go at least for another 30 minutes, and it's moving at 50 miles per hour. So it's a pretty good forward motion. It's going to be in Troy at about 6:20, 6:30 in Biscoe and beyond, near Steeds, El Dorado, and beyond as we move through the rest of the afternoon. We got quite a bit going on here. Single-site radar indicates where we have a strong indication of rotation, have had off and on a few times, and still do. Velocity data showing this is going to be just to the south along 24, and moving on northeastward. Sometimes you look for the cluster of lightning that's ongoing, so that is one of the things that we're looking at right here along 52 State Road, 52 County. 24 coming in from the west and then moving southeastward near Mount Gilead and Norwood, and that is headed off to the east. That's the reflectivity up here that we're looking at. And I think, our tornado really from reflectivity might be right in there, might be into this area here. This could be what we're looking at as our region, because I don't see it basically showing up in anything except for that. Yeah, that's where our tornado is going to be, on 24, right here where this cluster of lightning is. It's just not a great radar representation at this point, so kind of what we're looking at. Gobble, gobble back to you. Michael Beard, one of my favorite people in this whole world, Michael. Michael owes me $20, and if you just feel like you would like to send that, Michael, I'd appreciate that. We'll let the rest of it go. Line severe thunderstorms now causing catastrophic damage across North Carolina and South Carolina. Okay. What, Sebastian? Tree fell on my neighbor's house, Jaden. That seems to be sort of the headliner today, that a tree. Trees have been falling. No, this is not a tornado outbreak. I don't care who's telling you it is. This is not a tornado outbreak. I saw that being advertised a couple of times during the day today. This is not a tornado outbreak by any means. Do not be fooled. Give me 1 second to look at something. Okay, I think I fixed it. Here we go. Is anything coming to Central Virginia? We are under a tornado watch until 9 o'clock, but it's beautiful here right now. Sometimes it's kind of the way it is, the calm before the storm. Tell you what I'd like to do, though, while we're sitting here. Let's kind of look at... let's do this. Let's look at the satellite imagery here real quick and take a look over into Virginia and show you what's basically happening here as far as the loop goes. That doesn't even go to Virginia, Dave. Back out of this. Let's shoot this up a little further to the north. So here's sort of what we're looking at as far as Virginia goes, off on the right-hand side of the screen here. And this is lightning that's coming in. This is a loop over the past couple of hours to show you all the lightning coming in across West Virginia. There is a gap here into central Virginia that you can see, and that's the gap right there that really hasn't filled in that well. You got a lot of upper level. You can see the jets really working on this stuff now, coming in into the upper level wind. Now you can see a lot of little cold cumulus cloud development down to the south. We call it an agitated deck, Q deck, and that's there. And then North Carolina, we got all this that's still ongoing here as well. So it's a sort of a weird sort of day. We have high instability most of the day today across all of this area, and so it was kind of ripe to see these thunderstorms popping off here today across this region, and that's really what was happening. We ended up with a moderate risk, which is pretty unnatural for this area this time of the year. Just doesn't normally happen this time of the year across, the South like it did for one thing, but into the Virginias, typically a little bit later scenario that takes place. But that's Virginia now with the satellite and some of the lightning data laid over the top of that, with a break into central Virginia here at the moment. But all this stuff is moving on to the east, making its way over along the East Coast. It's going to be moving into New York, southeastern New York as we go through time here, and into West Virginia as we go along the rest of the area. Right now we're keyed in on central North Carolina. That's what the last meso discussion says. North Carolina is what basically we were looking at. The radar, as we can see it right now, has the one tornado warning to the north. I mean, I look at that and I'm not like screaming, take cover immediately here. But as we look at it, we really need to look at, what's happening here and be on the side of caution. So moreover, we're looking at a tornado warning here that expires in 31 minutes. That's going to be just south of Troy Biscoe. And moving on to the east, we still have 65 alerts out of that. 5 tornado warnings here at the moment. We have Louisa into Virginia now with a tornado warning up here. That's one of those places we were looking at a few moments ago. That's a new tornado warning. I can see some inbound and outbound here near Blue Ridge Shores. That's going to be moving, to the east. It's a broad rotation, but it's enough there to where I think the National Weather Service feels pretty good about issuing this as a tornado warning. Moving on eastward along the river and then down to the south. It's Unionville and Gordonsville, where we're coming out of, south of Fredericksburg. That is a tornado warning now on the south side of town, as that is moving southeastward at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Velocity data give us confirmation, although it's a broad look. You got all this stuff in the middle here that is not rotating. The rotation's here and here, so this is a broad spin that's occurring. It's not a tightly gate-to-gate, pixel-to-pixel sort of situation, so I'm not really worried about that being a huge honking tornado at this point. It's moreover a mesocyclone that we're looking at that is rotating and spinning, so kind of looking at it that way here at the moment. You go all the way to the north, though, into Baltimore, Annapolis, Silver Spring. Still got big thunderstorms coming into D.C. here at the moment from the west, moving eastward, again at 50 to 55 miles per hour. It's booking along. Severe thunderstorm warning off to the north. They took away that tornado warning. It's now a severe thunderstorm warning. They put a possible tag on that, but that is now moving near Shenandoah over to Hazleton and Berwick, and now we have 2 tornado warnings to the north here. This one now is into Clifford. That is a tornado warning for the next 15 minutes from the National Weather Service. They're saying this is a tornado now. Velocity data has that's a pretty decent sort of area there. It's still broad. It's spinning. It is rotating, but it's broad. So is this. This looks to me like a downburst. This is it's probably just coming down to the ground and spinning out, and that's what's happening here. There's outbound, there's no inbound. You got to have both. So moreover, this is to me a burst coming down into the side, very likely. What do they say here? Let me see what the wording is on this. Radar indicated for sure Susquehanna and Wayne County underneath a tornado warning there. 11 miles to the east of Montrose and moving east at about 25 miles per hour. Moving east at 25. So that's a pretty good deal overall there across the rest of the area. Dangerous storm, they're saying. Susquehanna Depot and Lanesboro around 6:05, coming into Hiawatha Sherman and Sheehawken at about 6:30 Eastern. time. Tornado warning. 2 of them showing up there across the area. Clay, Auburn. That is severe thunderstorm warning territory up there as well that we're looking at, but not necessarily a spot that has anything other than that. Is that a new warning? This is West Virginia, so that is a new tornado warning now to West Virginia for the next 28 minutes. Tornado warning storm here coming in out of Hinton, moving eastward and southward. That's going to be Hinton. You got an inbound, outbound marker right there near County Road 3. Not, particularly anything that makes me feel like this is, definitely large rotation on the ground. It's a rotation. It's definitely spinning and rotating around, but it's not really anything that says to me that we need to worry about that one particular spot there. It's coming into Pent Springs, Wayside, Elmhurst, and the rest of the area with some high winds at 55 to 60 miles per hour and beyond. I don't know, do we have anybody out and about over here, Jarvis, that is driving in a car, a vehicle? We'll try to get you some video here of what's happening over the next few minutes, maybe some video coming in from some of these other areas, but I know Bryce Shelton is out. Who? Bryce. And Bryce is in Annapolis. Maybe we could pull him up full screen here for a minute and see what's happening here. He's in Annapolis. There is a severe thunderstorm warning there, although it's not raining there at the moment. But there is a severe thunderstorm warning going on there. That's coming in from west to east, and some high winds are associated with it. See, he's just out in advance of it. We'll pull him up here in a minute and show you. He's in just 15 more minutes. He's going to have a pretty big thunderstorm there that we'll be looking at because it's coming in. It's knocking on the door there. He's in Annapolis there, just outside of I-85. It looks like in Maryland. And as that approaches from the west, he'd be watching that coming in out of Crofton and East Laurel, probably just north of Washington, D.C., and we're looking at him live right now as he's riding up and down the road here. Again, this is Bryce Shelton, one of Brett Adair's LSM guys that we've been watching now for quite some time. He's headed down the road, flirting with disaster at the moment. Coming in from west to east are the thunderstorms. They'll be moving over Chesapeake Bay here in the next 15 minutes and coming into Annapolis here at about the same time and making their way across the rest of this region throughout the next 2 or 3 hours. We are moving at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. He may be too. Bryce may be. But the thunderstorms are moving about 50 to 55. And so pretty good progress off to the east. They're not going to linger very long at all. We shouldn't have any trouble with flash flooding or anything like that. But still have to watch what is happening. We had some 1 3/4 hail a little bit earlier in Funkytown, Maryland. Funkstown, Maryland. 1 1/4. Hagerstown, Maryland, had 1 inch hail there a little bit earlier there too, and had some high winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour from time to time into the western side of Maryland, just outside of Morgantown, West Virginia. Had some high wind there as well. And you can see up and down the line, these are alerts. We've got 3 tornado warnings here, 2 of them to the north there into northern Pennsylvania, 2 to the south here, 1 into Virginia. Another one showing up here into West Virginia down to the south. That's Hinton. Tornado warning there. That'll last for a little while longer out of the big storms coming in across I-64, headed south and eastward into Hinton, Wayside, down to Greenville as well. And then I think we have one more tornado warning. This is going to be into Carolinas again. This is coming in just to the west of 73, I-73. The National Weather Service has a tornado warned storm here, indicative of what we've been watching through the day today. We're near Baden Lake. It's moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour, 50 to 55. Everything is during the day today at Double Nichols. Troy Biscoe at about 625, coming into El Dorado, Steeds, and Haven near Fishtails Marina. I have no idea where that is, but I'd like to go. Cool area there. Coming in out of Charlotte. Thunderstorms are about over with into Charlotte, downtown Charlotte at the moment. That's going to be pretty good news. You should be able to get out a little bit as we move along. Let's see. Izzy's in Cherryville, North Carolina. Cherryville, appreciate you there, Izzy. Appreciate you watching today. Izzy's been with us many, many times before. She's not a first-timer. Chihuahua Mom is with us. And without power. God, I hate that. So Chihuahua Mom, not so far away, Izzy. Chihuahua Mom doesn't have power. I'm so sorry. God, that sucks. Especially because it's so hot outside. I know what it's like not to have power. Maybe they're pretty quick about getting it back on again, the power back on. A little stop down here in downtown Atlanta to show you the big storms. These are coming in out of Tucker near Snellville, Georgia. You got a big thunderstorm in Snellville. Looks like also the Lawrenceville off to the north, up in near Yona Mountain, coming in out of the Blue Ridge Mountains and south through down to Sandy Springs Truist Park, right there where the Atlanta Braves play baseball each and every home game, down to the south of Riverdale Stockbridge, and then you just get into McDonough, I-75 southward, or if you go to the west on I-65, 85 all the way down into Franklin. That's a severe thunderstorm warned area coming down the interstate East Noonan over to Grantsville. You should certainly pay attention to that. Now just to the east of Alexander City, we got some storms into Wadley. Looks like 431, Highway 431 coming out of Roanoke and Randolph County down to Lee County and Auburn. A few isolated thunderstorms here and there still across the area, but it looks like we have stability coming in from the west and moving on to the east, and should be into some much nicer weather here going into the next little while. I don't think we're going to have too many more storms that would be taking place there anytime really soon. Let's see, what do we have here? Gadsden, Alabama hit pretty hard during the early part of the day today. Right now you can see some clearing that is taking place in Gadsden, looking off into the distance there. We got, this is where I grew up. Not necessarily at the McDonald's, but this was my hometown here. And see that guy right there? I know that guy. Man. All right. So we do have a brand new tornado warning. We've got 3 down to the south here. We got a new tornado warning now to Philadelphia, just west of Philadelphia. That cone says, that polygon says that's coming into Downingtown, into Exton and West Pickle Land, along I-76 in Westchester. Before too long, the National Weather Service has just issued a tornado warning in effect for central Chester County in southeastern Pennsylvania until 6:45 this evening. That tornado warning goes. It is a radar-indicated rotation near Coatesville, or about 12 miles to the west of Westchester, moving northeast at about 55 miles per hour. And if you look at it right now, we'll show you this is all going to be, this is in the common head of this whole situation here. You can look at this and you can just draw. Basically, if you wanted to, you could draw your own little low-pressure center right here coming northward, but this is known as the common head of the whole situation. And right here, we supposedly have an inbound and an outbound somewhere. It's going to be right in the wrong color. You don't write red on red. So right about there is going to be where the tornado warning was issued for. And let's see what else we got to go along with that, because reflectivity shows a bow segment there. But yeah, you see there's a kink in it right there at about Coatesville. This is why they issued the tornado warning. Modena and down to the south, this is going to be a tornado warning because of that deal right there. Coming northward and moving along the polygon. Should be within the center of the polygon here for the next little while. That's why they're thinking that at the moment anyway, and looks like pretty much so. That's going to be moving northeastward at 50. So Downingtown, Exton, West Pickland, and anywhere along I-76 just to the west of King of Prussia, you should be paying attention to this going into the next little while. We do have quite a few electric customers who are without power across the southeastern United States, up the Atlantic seaboard. There are off and on, in some situations here, as many as 100,000 people or customers, not people, but customers who are without power, especially into the state of Georgia and North Carolina. Tennessee, 50K plus. We'll be showing you this in just a couple of seconds, but it's mainly into the eastern side of the United States and the Atlantic seaboard where we have most of the power outages that are occurring. We have about 132,000 customers in North Carolina, by far the most, that are without power. Into Tennessee, almost 100,000 customers without power still at the moment. And then we got Georgia, too, at about the same. Georgia, we have we still have, quite a few of those, too. But as you can see, there's still some thunderstorms out here that are producing possible tornadoes. So from time to time, that's why we get power outages. And because we still have some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds on occasion as well. But right now we go back up to the north to show you 2 other tornado warnings. These are tornado warning storms for the next 19 minutes. We got a tornado warning here that's in effect the next 19 minutes. They just cut that baby down. Let's see. Next 19 minutes, moving to the east at 20. 11 miles southwest of Deposit, a damaging tornado. This thing has been confirmed now. This is the Susquehanna tornado a few moments ago. Northwestern Wayne County, northeastern Susquehanna County, a confirmed tornado here that is on the ground at the moment. So this may be our first real tornado of the day today. Showing up, and it very likely producing a tornado there that is on the ground. Let me see if I got any more information about that. Yeah, other than a small tornado in Kansas, which turns out to be a landspout. That's the only one reported. So right now, that is an observed tornado off to the north there, the northern eastern side of Pennsylvania, just north of Scranton, PA. And down to the south, we have another tornado warning, although this is not confirmed. This is Susquehanna, Lackawanna, and Wyoming County. You're underneath the tornado warning till 6:15. Northwestern Waverly, moving to the east at about 25 miles per hour, too. It's got some quarter-size hail involved in this storm near Fleetville and Wallsville at about 15 to 20 minutes. Two areas there of grave concern at the moment, especially this one up here near the border, near Lanesboro. That is a tornado warning with an observed tag on it for this storm just outside of Lanesboro. See, is that the best radar we can get? There's a little bit better radar right there. Reflectivity and velocity data. Yeah, this is that, this is that sort of downburst area that we saw that does have a little bit of backing now with it. On County State Route 171, it looks like, Lanesboro. So this is producing, I think it's going to be on this right side. It's very difficult. Let me see if there's... So if it was doing that, then maybe there's some sort of correlation coefficient to go with it. And I guess that's going to be, let's see. Hold on. What time was that? 5:12. So 6:12 up there. Stevens Point. Let's change this back to velocity data. Same time. A little odd. The correlation coefficient is well out in advance of what we believe the tornado is. This looks so broad to me. I mean, there's nothing really. There's not two pixels that are together. They're saying this thing is on the ground. Let's go with that at this point. Radar representation isn't always perfect. I mean, if there's anything, I learned something every time we have an event. I learned something about radar, and that's especially here in the state of Alabama, where we have so many, across the southeastern United States, where we have so many different views with radar, the radar coverage, that you can take a view from over here, you can take a view from the east, you can see a storm in so many different dynamic ways if you want to. This isn't typical of a tornado into the south. This is telling me that everything, red goes away from the radar site, green's coming toward the radar site. We only have a small uptick, if you will, in speed right about there. That's a negative 35, and then you got a positive 24 here at the moment. Net shear's like 50. That's not a lot. Down to the south here, that's breaking down really fast, so much so they did let that tornado warning expire. So if there's a tornado, I think it's a little bit further up to the north here. It's going to be right near Lanesboro, moving to the northeast at about like that, moving along the polygon. So going to be watching out. That is the storm of the moment, if there is such a thing. We're always looking, if it's observed, it's probably always going to be the storm of the moment. But that's into northeastern Pennsylvania, moving along the line and headed southward and eastward along 17 over the next 45 minutes or so. We'll certainly be watching out for that. This is going to approach the Delaware River here in about 15, 20 minutes from the west near Hancock, but moving into the Delaware River area just south of Deposit and headed on eastward. Strong indication of a likely tornado up into this area. A lot of lightning. Anytime you see lightning that, gathers around a spot like this, and there's, 15 different lightning strikes there within like a 10-mile radius. Well, that is a pretty good indicator of storm initialization and maybe even tornado genesis in that region. I mean, you got about 6 or 8 strikes right here, too. So that's always worrisome when you see them together, and there's some spin. You can see there's some rotation there. Dynamically speaking, there's enough there to produce lightning, and dynamically you may end up with a tornado. There's inbound outbound associated with it up there very clearly in that situation. Hazelton down to the south, these are also your thunderstorm warnings near Hazelton. with 60-mile-per-hour winds or greater beginning to show up. And down to the south are still our tornado warning here that's near Westchester. An update on this now from the National Weather Service says that it's 6:08. This is about 10 minutes old. Central Chester County in southeastern Pennsylvania. Central Chester County. This is from Mount Holly, New Jersey. The National Weather Service says this thing's moving to the northeast at about 12 miles to the west of Westchester, Coatesville. So going to be just off to the north. This is the Pennsylvania Turnpike, just off to the north of Philadelphia. Should it continue this motion off northward and eastward, and that would be a blessing there should that happen. Ethan, good to see you there, babes, and toiling and other things. I know it's getting dark clouds here now, 7:15 Atlantic time. So I appreciate that, Izzy. Great talking to you, Chihuahua Mama. I hope you get your power back on here pretty soon. For you and do you have a Chihuahua? Or is that just an assumption I made? Is that racist? Let's see. Another tornado warning here down to the south. That's Spotsylvania, southwestern Spotsylvania County in central Virginia. That is a tornado warning there. Moving to the east at about 30 miles an hour. Quarter-size hail coming in across that system. That's a pretty good deal overall there. The speed that is moving, we don't want that to stay in any one place. Spotsylvania Courthouse is right there to the north, but it is a tornado warning down to the south that we're looking at, moving northeastward at a pretty decent pace here overall. That's a big storm here into D.C. at the moment, by the way, because we're looking at the radar far, far away. Look at this, Fort Washington over to Friendly into Alexandria. A lot of lightning going on here, just constant lightning up in and around Crofton, it looks like. Coming into Annapolis here very shortly, which I know we got Bryce out there. We'll look at his camera in a few minutes because the storm is approaching rapidly now from the west. We should have that coming into Chesapeake Bay here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Other storms of note down to the south get sporadic now. We've often had these popping up here and there into the afternoon sunshine, but now everything's a little bit more disorganized until you get over here into the Carolinas. A long-term tornado warning. Still has 11 minutes on this tornado warning near Albemarle, and it's moving to the northeast, east-northeast at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Still has some rotation associated with it, so that is a tornado warning storm. Just now to the east of Charlotte, coming into Troy Biscoe from the western side, moving at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. Wadesboro down to Norwood and beyond. Still have a few thunderstorms there that we're looking at that go southward over to South Carolina along I-26 or Edgefield back to the west. Thunderstorms of note into Athens. Now coming out of Fulton County, Cobb County, Atlanta. Those thunderstorms seem to have weakened just a little bit, but Beaufort, Georgia. Athens going over to the University of Georgia. We got big cluster of thunderstorms coming in from the west now, moving on eastward. LaGrange, Georgia, over to Columbus. We got thunderstorms popping up there as well. And skies have cleared back to the west over to Mississippi and beyond. Looking much better here as far as that goes. We don't have a whole lot happening into the short term there with that situation there at all. Into the Gulf of Mexico. I was going to show you clouds, but that's terrible. Southeast, South Central. Here's some more clouds. Let's don't do it that way, though. Clean, blah, blah, blah. South Central U.S. How about let's do the CONUS, I guess. I'm sorry, they've changed some of this. This looks a little different than the last time I saw it. So there's your cloud deck coming on through. Still very cloudy across North Alabama, across North Georgia, South Carolina. There are some breaks. I know somebody from Virginia was telling me a few moments ago it was beautiful there, just north of Roanoke and Richmond. But some of the clouds are about to thicken across the area, breaking up here to Kentucky, western Tennessee, Arkansas. We got clear skies for the most part here across all of this area. Over to Fort Worth, Texas, still some cloud cover off and on. A few thunderstorms still taking place here. And in fact, there are quite a few thunderstorms still on the eastern side of Colorado and just outside of Nebraska. In Kansas, we got a few thunderstorms. Cheyenne as well. We didn't have a tornado warning there a little bit earlier. That ended up being a water spout that was not considered a tornado after it somebody actually saw. It had nothing to do with the parent thunderstorm. So moreover, that's what that was. This is a huge hail producer. You can see that part at least. 2-inch size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds associated with this thing as it heads on eastward out of Goodland. That's on I-70 coming out of Colorado, Burlington in Colorado. Big thunderstorms there. And let's just do this. Let's go back to the single site radar and look at it, because Goodland is right there. And I can show you, these are huge hail producers. These are ones that off in the distance make great photographs. These are little outflow boundaries that are showing up just in advance of everything. Watch how this cell merged so fast. Watch how that one got sucked into this one over here into McDonald. That one went in quick. Big thunderstorm here coming out of the western side of town, 385. This is out of Colorado. What you see about this is that this is a very mature storm. You got on the back side of this is called a flying eagle, bunny ears, whatever you want to call it. But we've created low pressure on both sides of this. Now you got the air coming back into here is dry. And you got a hail shaft right there. So the upper level wind flow is coming in from the west, and it's trying to go through this, but the hail shaft's preventing it from doing so. So it has to go around the hail shaft and then creates these little eddies back here. So you can see that very well when you just look at that image. You can see what's going on dynamically and physically within the storm, and know that this thing, it's going to be super high. Let me see if I've got an echo top reading on this. Well, it's going to be higher than the radar can do, actually, because the radar is right on top of it. But you can see there's some 45, 50,000 foot tops, at least, in that thing. It's a doozy. Headed northeastward. McCook got a big storm there, too. A few storms over here into Denver, actually, it looks like. And then not much happening anywhere else. We got a Boise storm or two. These are coming in out of the mountains here and coming southward. These are all elevated heat source thunderstorms that have popped up throughout that region. All the action is still here into the east mainly, and the tornado never was going to be an outbreak. I don't think, I know a couple people have sort of said that. That's baloney. This was not an outbreak. It's a little early for that to be taking place. We don't have the jet streams, not what it will be in another month or two. It was going to be a quick sort of a situation. I think the big deal here was basically going to be wind for the entirety of this situation as it went on by. But there you go. 6 more minutes on this tornado warning. That is all headed to the east. Tornado 9 miles to the southeast of Albemarle and moving to the east at about 25. That's within a cluster of thunderstorms. And then the rest of this area is pretty much the same until you get to the north. We've got the tornado warning here down to the south. This is moving northeastward toward Spotsylvania, toward the courthouse there in Spotsylvania, up into Chesapeake Bay. Severe thunderstorms coming across Annapolis and beyond. And then, as you get a little bit further to the north, you got I-76, and we got a tornado warning here, Downington, all the way up into Exton and West Pikeland. That's coming in from the southwest, moving into I-76 and up through that general area there that we've been watching through the day today. The National Weather Service Office has this as a tornado warning. It's going to be that little tit right there, that little T thing that you see. That's going to be what the Weather Service is all excited about with their tornado warning. It's it doesn't show up like it did. Pretty much what you see there, though, is what we're looking at. And then tornado warning, let's see, right up here we got a tornado warning too. These are two tornado warnings, Lanesboro and up to Deposit, tornado warning here. This is still the that observed one that we were talking about a little bit earlier. And that is a observed tornado warning here. Radar confirmed. And that's because, in Susquehanna, that's because we had that, let's go to the radar here and we'll show you. That is because, now that looks like a tornado. See, earlier, remember when it didn't have an inbound and an outbound? It only had an outbound, and now it's got an inbound and an outbound. So this is now looking like a legitimized tornado warning with a very tight couplet to couplet, pixel to pixel sort of a situation. This would be concerning to me if I lived in this area, if I lived in Danville. Where's it going? Let me sort of take a look at this. Try to figure out now where the movement is. It's headed northeast. So Deposit, if I lived up here in Deposit or Stylesville, Deposit, it's going by Gulf Summit, but Deposit, it's definitely headed for you in Deposit there. Coming in out of the Delaware River. This is the Delaware River that goes southward. That's why it's a jagged line. This is a tornado now. This is a legitimate tornado. And we can look at it and probably see the correlation coefficient has a little bit of information here, not a lot. What is the correlation coefficient? We haven't done this in a while. This is called the CC product, and this is really all it is a debris product. It tells us where we have debris that is up into the atmosphere. And if I back it up, in time here a little bit, there were a few times when I believe we did have debris aloft. I think this is debris right here at State Route 171, and maybe down here in North Jackson. That was going back to, what, 510, 610 there your time. And then again, we had debris right here. That's obvious debris there near, what is that, Sherman. And then it looks like the debris has kind of gone away. I don't really see, like, debris sticking out anymore. Let me see what I got. But if I lived in Deposit, this would be the storm of the moment that I was looking at, making sure that you had a place to go, a safe place to be at the moment, because there is a tornado that is on the ground there into the area. The likelihood now looks more and more. I have tremendous confidence now that this is probably a tornado up here into the area. And you should be taking cover immediately if you live over into the town of Deposit. I don't know how big that town is, but it's near the Whitaker Swamp State Forest. Quite a few state forests up there. And Deposit is a small community there just outside of Stylesville, too, in Islamberg. As we move up through this region, a very likely tornado now on the ground, moving northeastward there in the southwestern side of New York State. So kind of watching out for all of that there as it passes on by and moves up into central sections of New York State. So going to be watching that closely now. Then down to the south, we've got other thunderstorms that we're looking at too. Again, these are lined up across Philadelphia. And then down to the south here, severe thunderstorm warnings down into North Carolina, too. You can see them lined up. Severe thunderstorm warnings kind of here, there, and everywhere. Moving through the region out of North Carolina into Greensboro. Severe thunderstorm warnings here as well. And those are beginning to move on to the east here. And pretty much what we're doing. So we just wanted to pop on here for a little bit and sort of give you an update on what's going on. Looks like the worst of the straight line wind damage is now moving on to the east. It's much drier, but you can see all the leftover damage areas. All these little black dots are indicating to us where we had some kind of damaged trees. More than likely a tree fell on something, and that's what the black dots are telling us. And these are the current warnings that we have. These are severe thunderstorm warnings, with the occasional tornado warning wrapped in through this, but not too many of those that have popped up, at least not into the short term. So kind of looking out for both of those across South Carolina, North Carolina, moving on to the east, North Carolina, Raleigh, still thinking yours is in about an hour or so, the worst of your weather coming in about an hour, and moving off to the north here. Here's a brand new tornado warning. This is just to the east of Watertown. Check it out. I mean, these are areas that don't often get tornadoes. And it'd have to be some sort of a situation like this for them to get a tornado, but this is up here into Watertown. It's from the National Weather Service out of Buffalo. It's Jefferson County and Lewis County. You're underneath a tornado warning from a severe thunderstorm near Carthage, 8 miles to the southeast of Fort Drum. It's moving north at about 15 miles per hour. What does it look like? Okay. I don't see anything going in the other direction, but okay. Well, I'm not making. I don't know. Sometimes the criteria for issuing tornado warnings is different for different offices, but I see everything going away from the radar site. Radar site's down here to the south, so everything is, at least as far as what I see here, it's kind of doing that. I just don't see anything coming back this way. And when you get over here, you see a legit tornado, because now you got wind going in two different, are very tightly packed. See, it's even breaking up now. It's not what it was a few moments ago. Let me put this into motion to show you. And I can show you what a tornado looked like. Right there was a tornado coming across, but it's weakening rapidly now. Coming into Deposit, that would be great news. We were watching you there, Danville, though, that little small community there. You're probably seeing the tornado. And up here near Deposit, there's the likelihood you won't. Let's see what they're saying. Let's see what the National Weather Service is writing here. Tornado, now they're just saying radar indicated, and it would be near Deposit here shortly. So it's weakening rapidly, I can tell you that. And does not look like it's going to hang very hard there. Insane storms. Hi, I've been trying to figure out what chasers use for their data so I can learn more. I'm in Texas, and we recently had an EF3 go through Matador, Texas. Missed us by 30 miles. There's a lot of different things you can, things you can use. There's at least 4 or 5 that you can use when you're out there, when you're out and about. Radar scope is one of the older ones. Radar scope's been around for a long time, and it's been very hard for people to use anything else. The GR products analysis is still out there. GR, you might look into that. They're all, cost efficient. They're not very expensive at all. Right now, what I'm showing you is called Omega. It's a new developing product. Still has some, its problems, especially when it comes to iPad work. But new product here. And then what else is there? Do people use WSV? Well, there's WSV 3 that people use as well, but it just depends on what you use. Radar scope is the older one, and I've been using radar scope myself for, I don't know, maybe 20 years. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of, you sort of get, with radar scope, you get a radar. You get a radar program that allows you to have every radar across the country. You don't pay for radars. You're able to see them all. Maybe not as high resolution as some of the others, but it's very simple to use. It's not like there's a ton of things on there that you have to adjust. You turn it on. It's sort of a turnkey sort of a thing. You turn it on and you use it. And the rest are a little bit more complicated, getting more complicated. And I think that the complicated thing, all the new varieties that are being added to some of these other apps are making them a little less reliable. So you get, certain people are going to tell you different things. Year ago, what I have in front of me, I loved. I don't know. Hope that helps you out. I got 2 warnings when I came in here. All right, folks. I don't know what to do. I don't know that I'm helping you. We're not exactly gaining viewers, which is really all right. I didn't do it to gain viewers because we were only going to be on here for about 10 minutes. But there it is. Tornado warning there in the central North Carolina. Raleigh, you're not far from there. Is it a real tornado warning? We're going to assume it is. There's a curl right there. The Weather Service is worried about this near Siler City, just south of there, coming across 421 here in the next few minutes. But this is what they're worried about, is that little area right there. So kind of watch out for that. As that moves on to the east, it would probably just, it'd be close to getting into Raleigh. Do what? Two new tornado warnings north of Richmond, Virginia. Okay. Brand new tornado warning here, Virginia. It's Central Caroline County. This is from Wakefield. So we got 24 more minutes on this. Is a tornado warning. That's just a continuation of the other tornado warning that we had a few moments ago. Didn't quite make it to the Spotsylvania courthouse there. and move this forward here out of Philadelphia. They're still saying this might be a tornado here as well, just north and west of Philadelphia. And that's because of this spin right here near the Radnor area, near Villanova University, actually. Radnor 476 through that region. A possible tornado is associated with this. Let me tell you what is going to happen here for sure. Even if you're not talking about a tornado, these are super high winds right in along here. These are going to be some 60 miles per hour, maybe even as high as, 70. High winds. That's it, that right area right there. We call this a bow segment, so it's coming in from the west like this, but the bow always goes out a little bit further where you have the highest winds. So the highest winds are going to be right in this where this polygon is where the super high wind, like Marple Township, through that area, Radnor. I can't even say that one. But that's going to be a really high wind sort of a situation there overall. I mean, right through there as it moves northeastward across that portion of the area. Then down here into the Chesapeake, we got the same thing going on here in the Chesapeake Bay, where we've got big thunderstorms now crossing over, moving on to the east. Still that tornado warning to the north there. And then what is happening down to the south here as well, with just intermittent thunderstorm warnings now throughout the state of Georgia. There's nothing really there that looks like it's going to be a continuing thing. These are all really small cells. There's a quick burst of 60-mile-per-hour winds that are associated with these, and thus that is why we have the tornado warnings that have, the severe thunderstorm warnings that have popped up. You are very welcome, Mr. Jackson. I know Reed, and appreciate that. We were going to be on earlier today. I had a doctor's visit that I could not miss, so I apologize for not being on with you earlier today. Jarvis is directing today and helping me out with information, and we're just trying to get, this is not the season for severe weather. This is not when we have it. We should be talking about something going on in the tropics, but there's really nothing to talk about going on in the tropics. We shouldn't be talking about severe weather in August. And so we're this is a little, you just call it a warm-up, I guess. And something that we just popped in here to do a few minutes of and to get you ready for really mid-September. Late September is where severe weather season starts to ramp up again into the fall, and those can be bad seasons. The fall can be bad seasons. I remember many times here in the deep south, the fall was considered just as bad as the spring season for severe weather for tornadoes. But Pepsi Big Boy, hey. Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up here, and unless something else happens, we'll let everything go and be what it is, because we don't really have video at this point. But thank you all for being with us here. We've had a couple of 1,000 views, something like that, and so I appreciate you being with us today. We're going to be coming on a little bit more frequently now as we move along through time, and hopefully we can keep you abreast of what's happening. We're going to have more video. I know you don't like to just sit and listen to me rant and rave about this stuff. We're going to be all about having exclusive video. I probably shouldn't say the rest of it, but we should be having some of the best ride-alongs that you can imagine, where you're really in the car with some of the people, guys and gals who are out there. So nice seeing you again, Ferraro. Yeah, I haven't seen that name in a while. You have a great evening as well. Lizzie, good to hear from you. I hope you get your power back here pretty soon. Did you get your power back? Yeah, you see my hat here? Did you figure out the hat yet? Because here's a story about the hat. Ordered the hat, Fueled by Cats and Coffee, but do you see how they spelled coffee? So ordered 2 hats and then called them and said, hey, look, you misspelled coffee. So they sent 2 more hats and they misspelled coffee 2 more times. And so it was like, how many of these hats have you? They hadn't heard it. Nobody else had said anything about the misspelling of the hat, of the word coffee. And they'd sold thousands of these hats. So it's kind of funny too, but it's very comfortable. So thank you. Let's see. Did I say hey to everybody? If I didn't say hey to you, I apologize. But anyway, y'all have a great night, and we'll be talking to you again here pretty soon. So, arrivederci, hasta mañana, and I'm not sure of the other one, but we're out. Hasta luego.